All right, traders, to watch this video for Friday, December 14th. The SPY gapped up a little bit today. You can see volume's a little bit lower the last couple days, but it still gapped up, popped a little bit, and sold off again, closing about where it closed yesterday. So if nothing else, we're at least getting into tighter ranges. Maybe the SPY is going to, find some kind of tighter range, and stocks will trade a little bit more normally. It's been pretty chaotic. If you didn't make it to chat today, I'm going to throw this up here. ADIL was on our morning gap playlist. I called it. Here's the opening 5-minute candle. I got some notes there, so it's kind of in a way. You can kind of see the topping tail. So this opened, popped up to $3, and all the way back down to 260 something. Put in a lower high on the next 5-minute candle around 281, something like that. I called it as a 5-minute buy setup because if it triggers on fives, you've got two catalysts just above, right? Red to green, high of day. And I also love the fact that the high of day was a whole number. You know, we love whole number breaks. Now, I'm not really looking to take this at 3 when it had to come all the way. Remember Rule 29 from our trading course, when it had to come all the way from the lows to the highs. I really didn't want to get long all the way up here. But the 5-minute buy setup made sense because you had two dominoes above, right? 1, 2, and so got long here and literally just sold a little bit before 3. Most of my sells were over 3 as the volume was ripping in. And I made $801.35. And that was just, 20 minutes into the session. To me, that's a good day. I ended up $860 on the name altogether because I traded it one more time and made like an extra $50. But I'll get this out of the way. And whoops, I typed in the wrong symbol, and I'll show you what it did. This thing did something that you don't usually see, right? We broke the high of day. It's not uncommon when it had to come this far from the lows to the highs to have selling come back in. Once it came all the way down and took out the low of day, the way I viewed this was, okay, I'm probably done with this. I probably won't trade it again on the long side because shorts are big time in charge here, right? You could view it as sellers fail. They come in on the opening candle, but they fail as it breaks the high of the day. Next thing you know, like 20 minutes later, it's back to the lows. Now you've got a lot of longs caught, right? So I'm thinking every bounce gets faded on this thing, so I'm just leaving it alone, and then it does that. I got a private message in chat as it was coming up like around 290, said, hey, what do you think of this back through 3? And my answer was something like, honestly, I don't know, because it took out the high of day, then it took out the low of day again. In hindsight, I should have thought, and I did even say, I was on the mic, I said, hey, shorts are in trouble here if this thing breaks the high of day, right? Because shorts were piling in here. There's a group of people out there that make their living shorting these low float, low price stocks, right? And justifiably so, because oftentimes they come back all the way back down and fill the gap, right? And so there's a lot of money to be made there, but on the occasions where they're wrong and they're getting cocky and it takes out the low of day, and so now they're trying to fade these bounces, right? And a lot of these guys, if you watch some of the tweets and videos out there, they get in these things huge, right? And then they get to brag about their massive gains when it comes down and fills the gap. But every once in a while, this happens. And I said in chat, when I saw that we were watching this live, I never did take this back through 3 again, right? Wayne got a partial fill on it. Wayne pulled the trigger, but he got a partial fill. But I'm sure he still made a killing on it. But I told everyone when I saw this, I said, that's a full-on short squeeze right there. In 5 minutes, that's all of these shorts that probably got a little cocky having to cover. Like I said, they get in these things massive, huge size. And the only way out when you're in huge size on a low float stock that rips through the highs when you think you're winning, the only way out is to buy it back, right? Buy to cover. So I guarantee you there's some shorts that got their asses handed to them today. Again, I'm up 860 in the name or something, which I'll take that over a massive being on the wrong side of a short squeeze, right? Anyway, Wayne got in again, by the way. The afternoon, winding down, my granddaughter was here, and I didn't get to really trade the afternoon. Or I do believe I would have caught this. I was looking for that late day, last minute flash in the pan short squeeze, right? And I think Wayne got filled. He showed his order. He got filled like 390 or something. So it still made a nice little trade at the end of the day too. This one certainly was whippy, But to me, it gave a couple good setups. And I only got involved in the one early, and you can see there was much more money to be made on this break of 3 here. I just didn't do it. Didn't do it, but happy for anybody that did. All right, so what are we watching tomorrow? Well, I'll leave this up for a second. ADIL has to be on watch, right? Because that's massive volume. 28 million shares, all-time highs right up here around $5. It's trading at 4.39 right now in after hours because there's probably still some short covering going on. Anyway, so we're going to watch that one. QD gapped up today, closing about where it opened though, but certainly over this high back here, which was 615, certainly over this high is what I would consider breakout territory, right? And really nice volume today. So we'll see if it gives a low risk setup tomorrow. UXIN, really, really whippy stock. Look at the range today, 784, 574. That's a pretty big range. I didn't take a trade in it today, but it's certainly worth watching again tomorrow. Cron goes back on bounce watch. I didn't take any trades in it today. It's like 5 red days in a row after the gap up. I have no, I have no predetermined idea where I want it, and I probably won't trade it. Like I've been saying in these videos, the one thing I think I will trade is if Cron stays in a narrow range for most of the day, and then I get an afternoon high of day break, right? I think you might get a little mini short squeeze there if that happens, but shorts are certainly winning after that gap up. So it's one of my least favorites from the list. Oversold stocks like FedEx goes back on watch again. Maybe a little bit of a bottoming tail today. Still no trades in it, but still worth watching. XPO, man. If these were 5-minute candles on an intraday basis, when I see this long 5, I would be switching to 2-minute candles to look for a reversal, right? That is, that's getting that waterfall look, right? That's getting that shape change where the price and volume look like, two fingers trying to touch each other, right? Reaching out to each other. Whenever you see that, oftentimes you get a really nice snapback rally. So I am definitely going to watch that one tomorrow. It's way oversold. Doesn't mean it can't. It doesn't mean, I always like to joke, doesn't mean it can't get oversolder, but I'm still going to watch it tomorrow. Kind of have the same thing with this boot. I don't know, 5-6 days in a row, and a longer range, a bigger range today than any of the previous few days, and the volume's accelerating. It's got, I don't know, I want to say it has some support right in this area, and it's gotten there, but a lot of times when you fall a long way to take out support, you get a snapback rally too. So Under Armour, kind of the same thing, really beaten up. UA or UAA, I've chosen UAA to watch, but certainly if it gets down to 18, it's had some nice support there. So that area anyway. TME, I don't really trade IPOs. And when I say IPOs, I mean really, like the first few days. I generally just leave them alone because they're pretty unpredictable to me. There's no chart to go on. There's no support and resistance really other than 2 days worth now. And it's worth noting that this thing has topped out at 1475 on opening day, and then today had a low of 1348. So that looks like a huge range, but it's really not. It's really a pretty tight range when all things considered. Less than $2, right? In its opening 2 days. Excuse me. So anyway, I'm gonna have it on watch, but I'm not very adept at trading these. I really haven't done it much. VERI had the gap up. Now, the news was like a $10 buyout offer on the table. I told everybody in chat that day, if that's the news and it's trading at 8 in pre-market, that's telling me something, like there's something BS going on here, right? And the chart's proving that because it's all the way back down to the gap fill. Having said that, that news, unless it's been thwarted or negated or whatever, which I haven't really even looked at, but if that news is still floating out there and still on the table, you could argue that there might be a floor down here now that it's gap filled. So I think it's worth watching for a potential long tomorrow. But again, another one that I'm not exactly in love with. OZM had a big rally for 2 days, and now it's back down to the 20-day. I think that's worth watching for a low-risk intraday bounce play setup if we get it. ASTC gapped up yesterday, sold off, gapped down today, and actually pretty strong. I mean, man, if this gets back through 4, you've got yesterday's high above that. I like this look. I like the look that usually when you get a gap up and a red candle, you get like this. See back here? back here when it gapped up, you just get selling all the way back down, almost to the gap fill. So this is actually bullish action to me. The gap up, sell off one day, and the next day kind of eating away at maybe half of the gap up candle. It's certainly one of my favorites. Doesn't mean it's going to meet any parameters tomorrow, but certainly worth watching. TIK normally wouldn't be on my watch list. It only traded 80,000 today. But in after hours, it's trading at 360. I'm not sure how much volume is going on in after hours, but this is another one of those that when it gaps up, it just gets slapped back down, right? Look at that. Look at all these topping tails. So I trust this one about as far as I could throw Wayne. But we'll see. I mean, if it's going to gap up and open up here, maybe we get a low risk setup. Maybe there's some news that's actually relevant this time. And then lastly, ALQA, another one that's running in after hours. Again, I'm not sure how much volume's involved. It's trading at 280 right now in after hours. And with it being a recent high flyer, and so probably some shorts got involved, that knocked it all the way back down here, this gap up could have them caught a little bit. And it kind of reminds me of ADIL had the huge 2-day move and then almost all the way back down, and then today caught some shorts off guard real bad, right? They tried to knock it right back down again and failed miserably. So wait, I typed that wrong. ALQA. So if this opens with any kind of volume tomorrow, and we'll check and see if the news in pre-market, we'll check and see if the news is, worth a shot, or worth putting on our gap playlist. And it may be. We'll see. Listen, I've babbled long enough. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see everybody in chat tomorrow.